How much time we have, Rob?
18 seconds.
Okay.
It's usually this hectic, doctor. Sometimes it gets that way.
That's all right.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
It's 107.1. It's WTLC Saginaw. With
You
Steve
never
Harvey.
know what's going on.
It's the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
I'm gonna set you up over here too.
Over here, where you are.
You see the straight talk banner up here? I couldn't get rid of that one.
I can. I got it. Don't worry.
It came up doing the other stuff. Stand by.
107.1.
Okay. Slow down.
Well, good evening, Saginaw. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am so glad that you guys have tuned in. Hopefully you're listening and you're ready to have some good conversation. As you all will see, Rob, I am out of Facebook jail. Yes, and nobody put any money on my books. Didn't get anything from the commissary while I was gone, but it's all good. We are a good family. So we're here today and we're going to have a great conversation. I want you guys to get involved with what we're doing and what's happening here in the studio. You guys are going to let me know how our audio are doing. We are having some technical difficulties today, but we're going to make sure that everything is well. I have with me in the studio every week, and again, this week is no different. Our main man, the Rob Father. Rob, why don't you give a shout out to everybody?
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Rob Father here. Happy to be here from the Straight Talk Show.
All right. So we also have with us today in the studio our special guest, Dr. Reverend Doctor. I was gonna say Dr. Reverend Lakrita Clark. I wasn't Dr. Reverend Dr. Lakrita Clark. She is with us here today. Why don't you give a shout out to our people?
Hello, good evening. Hello, Saginaw community. Hope that you all are listening and will join in.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. We are gonna have a fun conversation today, and I'm in here and I'm causing some feedback, so you all forgive me. That is me, and my Rob Father's looking at me like, dude, what are you doing over there? But we're gonna get it together.
Better than me on this thing.
But we're okay in here. We're doing a lot better. And so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna have a quick conversation. I want to talk to you about what's on my mind, and I'm gonna share with you guys some really important things, because there's a lot that is happening in the community, and I want you guys to make sure that you know what's happening. And I have Dr. Clark here because Dr. Clark is going to make sure that we represent for the pastors of the city of Saginaw. I know many times we have that conversation, and people always ask, what are these pastors doing in the city of Saginaw? What are these pastors doing? They don't do nothing but your tithes and offering. Well, I want you to know that there is a re-envisioning of what the village pastors are going to be looking like. And so we're glad to have her here today as a representation. Hey, how forward thinking are we that there is a woman pastor that is representing the pastors in the city of Saginaw? I'm excited for this amazing opportunity. All right, so let's get right into, you know how we do. We always talk about what's hot, what's on my mind. And so I want to share today with you what's on my mind. I want to give you guys a really good alert. This is good. It's always good when we can talk about employment, job opportunities. There are jobs coming to the city of Saginaw left and right. I wanted to share with you guys, I know there's something great that's happening. I was speaking and working, as you guys know, with HSC, Hemlock Semiconductor, their CEO, Mr. Mark Bassett, and the new guy that's coming on, A.B. Gosh. And, you know, hey, they have about 100 jobs that are coming up. They're looking to fulfill. I know they've met with the pastors on that situation as well. So we're putting together an amazing opportunity where we're coming in with these jobs. There's so much that is happening. I'm so excited, and I hope you guys are ready for your opportunity for equity and inclusion. Next on the list, I want President Bill Clinton. Somebody, you know, some may say he's arguably the first Black president, as we said, and that's because of his stint on Arsenio Hall when he was the president. He would come in and he was the coolest dude playing that saxophone, Dr. Clark. And so he was hospitalized just this past weekend out in California. He was attending for a charity event, and he took ill while he was out there, found out that he had a UTI. And so we are going to make sure that we continue to cover him with prayer. That infection got into the bloodstream, started creating something called sepsis, which is the body's natural response. Whenever you get infection in the bloodstream, it dumps everything in there and it becomes a very toxic situation, elevated white blood cells. But he has now been released. He's doing quite well. And so, it's a very concerning situation, considering he had a quadruple bypass a number of years ago.
Yes.
So he is here, and I'm here. I'm with Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark, we're going to talk about this stuff. You are very aware of what's going on, and you are a doctor. So the doctor is in the house, y'all. But I also want to talk about this new thing, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Dr. Clark, but they were releasing this over the course of this weekend, that those of you who have received the J&J, the Rob father, he thought he had the best shot on the market because he only had the one and done.
No, I knew this was going to come out sooner or later. And I'm happy to hear that, But yeah, one shot is always better. And the fact that I didn't have any side effects.
All right. So
unlike some people who got one shot and decided to stay home.
I couldn't take the second shot, knocked me straight out, I promise you. But thank you, Rob.
Age over beauty, remember? Okay.
Whatever you say, Rob. They're saying now that they were talking about how dismal the efficacy rate is, just 2 months after that first shot. So there's going to be any, and the AstraZeneca, which they were using, I think it is in Israel, very similar. So they always kind of thought that there might be a need to do a double dose. But J&J said that they could get it done with one. We see that is not the case. So we're going to make sure that we get whatever it is. Y'all get that extra shot. Don't start talking crazy, talking about, well, they don't know what's going on with the vaccine. Let's do what we must to be safe. Rob, are you going to get now? Because I know that you're a J&J guy. Please let me know what's going to happen. We getting this.
They gave me an option. Actually, they said, they took so many veterans. One veteran got the other shot, and other veterans got the J&J. So I was selected to get the J&J.
Okay.
But yes, if the VA contacts me and says, "I'll come in and get your shot," because I have my record, of course I'm going to get the shot. But I should tag on this though, since we're talking about shots. The flu shot, the flu season's coming around.
Man,
if you have not been vaccinated with the flu vaccine, I would encourage you to get that. It will not affect any of the vaccines for COVID. I found that out through my doctors. I asked questions, and they've been pushing that for a while. So, just to be safe, last year the flu situation was down because of masking and social distancing. Let's encourage our people to get vaccinated.
You know what else was down? My sneezing and my wheezing. I tell you, people were so clear. Man, wearing a mask. I was quite religious about wearing a mask, Dr. Clark, and I recognized that my breathing was better. I usually suffer a lot from seasonal allergies and things. Those were not a problem. A little bit less time with the mask on this year, and I've been sneezing like crazy. I said, I got to get back to the mask if it's only so that I don't have to be breathing in all of these allergens. I never thought that would be an additional plus for me when I was looking at, while we were wearing these masks. But it made a tremendous difference in terms of how I was able to breathe. And I don't know if those of you out there, let me know if you're having the same experience, if you were able to just kind of live and breathe a little bit better while you were wearing your mask. All right, our love and prayer. This is a personal story to me. Certainly, I want you to know that love and prayer goes out to Patricia Dupas. She was, when I was in middle school and then high school, she was our lunch lady. So those who are here in the Bay region, especially Saginaw, Carlton, the radio station is actually in Carlton Township. And so those of you who are listening, those friends and family and high school graduates from Carlton High School, Miss Dupas has passed away. It is such a sad moment. After I graduated and I have my office back on Troutner, she became my secretary. So it was a very interesting thing. She was very close to the family. So she was my secretary for 7 years until I relocated my offices to another location. So my heart and prayers, I just spoke with her probably 2 weeks. We prayed. She was given an unfavorable diagnosis about cancer. And she later found that it had gotten into her lymph nodes. And so I was able to spend some time with her praying. The family was really just connected and making sure that she was okay. And I learned this morning, right before while I was getting ready for sermon this morning, that she had passed away. So love and prayers out to the Dupas family. It's such a big family for the loss of such an amazing woman. Now I got to end with something positive because I don't want to end with heaviness before we get into our conversation. We just have 2 weeks left, Rob. I know I've been talking about the Dow Treasure Academy. I am so excited. This is like birthing a baby. I've never birthed a baby. Of course, I'm a man, but I guess this would be the.
You would dare say that in front of a woman?
No, I can't believe
Hey,
that he said it.
I'm cleaning it up. Allow me an opportunity to clean this up. I've never could give birth to a baby, and it's not the pain that I'm referring to, Rob. Thank you, but it is more so the experience of birthing something great, and just seeing this come into fruition. This has been a labor of love that began with the social cries for justice with the murder of George Floyd. Shortly thereafter, we were talking about this, Dr. Clark. We were talking about what's going on.
Exactly.
And so it is actually happening. Dow has come through with some tremendous things. Not only that, but Hemlock Semiconductor is doing a major thing with what's happening in the Saginaw Public Schools,
Awesome.
giving opportunities. And I am just so excited. But the Dow Treasure Academy starts in just 2 weeks. The students have been selected. We've brought in the Dow mentors. Kudos to you, Dow mentors. These are not just like new employees. These are high-level executives that are doing great things. And we met this past week. I took them through their training. We all are going to get together on the October 30th mentors meeting, the mentees, and the program will kick off on November 1st. And I want to give a shout out to Saginaw Public School District. Dr. Roberts, thank you for being so progressive and forward thinking that you would allow us to infiltrate your school space and to work with your students, but to provide these amazing opportunities. Dr. Mitt Foley has done an amazing job. All of those counselors and schools and principals that have made this happen. I want to say thank you so very much. I don't take it lightly that you guys have.
Two of my students too.
What's that?
Kareem.
What's
Dr. Roberts and Dr. Foley are previous students of mine, so I take a lot of pride in the leaders that they are, and I'm really excited about what's getting ready to happen with Saginaw Public Schools.
Man, it is so exciting. I'm so excited for that to happen. All right, so we're going to transition here. And Rob, we're going to take a quick break because I know that, Rob, you're looking around. And whenever I see that look, you're like, I'm getting some feedback from somewhere. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back on the other side. And we'll get into this conversation about SAAP so that you guys know what that means, so that when you hear it, you can put names and faces and people and know what's happening in our community. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on the other side of this commercial break.
Listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
I love it. I love it.
It's not coming through. The audio's not coming through for some reason. Help everybody, but for some reason it's not picking up.
It's not picking her up.
It's not picking her. No, her voice sounds. She's not far away.
And so she's being picked up probably only on my mic.
No, your mic is no. It's picking up. This mic is working. It's just that for some reason her voice is going. It's too complicated.
Okay, wonderful.
What's going on, but I'm gonna fix it real quick.
African-American pastors. I am urging all residents of Saginaw to get the COVID vaccination
This
shot.
is not. This is not usual.
The first reason is to protect
Your voice comes through strong. I'm not worried about your voice. I'm worried about hers.
Full vaccination affords you the opportunity to reconnect with family, neighbors,
Okay, doctor.
coworkers,
Just stay.
friends,
Do here.
catching or
And let's have a conversation with Kareem.
done series
Yes.
on rebuilding the village,
Yep.
reimagining the village, and we talk a lot about the village, and so I think that it's appropriate. We've talked about everything as it relates to the village, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we have. It's been your main theme since the start of the show.
And I've been a listener, so you have. You talked about lots of stuff regarding the village.
Absolutely.
And we're coming up on a year in November, I think it is.
Rob,
Or is it past the
yeah,
year?
it's past the year,
Okay.
my buddy.
I'm thinking of the other show there. I'm thinking of the other show.
The other
My
show.
bad.
And he's referring, when he says the other show, he's talking about United States of Gray, which airs on WSGW, which is another groundbreaking show. Rob and I, two brothers over there, talking about issues in race and talking about really culture. So you guys, that show will air
7 o'clock on WSGW at 100.5 FM.
All right,
Looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Okay, so you got to listen to that show. But we're here today, and the reason we're here is because I want. And if we can, we'll make sure that we do that. If not, we want you to go to kisswtlz.com where you can listen to this show live as it is there. Once you get to the page, you'll say listen live and you can click it there. And you can also stop by there if you want to hear other shows that we have. Rob takes some time and he puts them together as a podcast.
Right.
So those shows are there for your listening enjoyment as well. All right. So Dr. Clark, we are here today and we're talking about the SAAP. Let our listeners know, what is the SAAP?
SAAP is the acronym for Saginaw African American Pastors.
All right. And so the Saginaw African American Pastors, I happen to be a part of this.
Yes, you are.
But
you
I
are
think
a part of this. And the Saginaw African American Pastors, while that is a new acronym and a new name that we hope is being branded in community, not just for branding alone, but because of the work we're doing. It is really about African American pastors across the Great Lakes Bay region being able to become unified and assist our community in addressing the economic, social injustices, the inequity that exists, and really, instead of complaining about it, being a part of that solution. And so I am very humbled and honored to be a part of SAP. That's what we call, that's it, SAP, Saginaw African American Pastors. I'm especially humbled and honored to represent my brothers and sisters across this Great Lakes Bay region who feel a very big responsibility of being a vibrant part of the community and being responsive to all of those things that our community experiences.
All right. So I want to read. They sent me over the mission statement.
Yes, our president, if you don't mind, our chair is Pastor Dr. Craig Tatum. I serve humbly as their vice chair. We also have some saged elders, Dr. Hurley Coleman, Dr. Roy Manning. We have the depth and breadth, Pastor Chris Pryor. We have the depth and breadth of the African American pastors in this heartbeat of our community, and we're working hard to be responsive and to be involved.
All right, Dr. Clark, I appreciate that. You know, when you were talking and when I was introducing you, I was thinking like, don't play with Dr. Clark because Dr. Clark don't play that. You know, from my favorite show,
Yes,
Lead
I
on
knew
Me.
what you were gonna
Yes,
say.
and so it is so cool for you to be able to be here with us on today.
Thank
Okay,
you
so
for having me.
let's talk about how you got started. I see Deborah Mack. Thank you for your comment. We're gonna just I've made a couple adjustments. Hopefully that will make a difference in our sound.
I think it's a Facebook and StreamYard issue because we had the same problem with Joyce's show.
Okay, so we've been having that issue take place. So we're gonna see what we can do to make sure that gets better. And if we can do something to make a difference, we'll do just that. Okay. So just continue to give us some feedback as we go, if we're getting sound or if we're not getting sound or what's taking place. All right. All right. So Dr. Clark, how did this whole piece get started? And I know that, you know, I was there, but give us the narrative. Tell us how this got started.
This got started because there were a group of pastors, yourself included, who came together at World Outreach Ministries with Dr. Hurley Coleman and said, we've had a faith group, but we haven't always been able to galvanize our energies in a collective effort. And this was really about having a collective effort around our religious leaders, our faith leaders in community to be responsive in concrete and tangible ways to the needs of our community, being responsive. And so it really began as a conversation. It began as a conversation, and then that conversation led to a commitment. And that commitment led to our developing our mission, our vision, our objectives. We have committees where people have responsibilities to interface with our community leaders on economic issues, on housing issues, with regard to jobs. We just had the Access for All that was at Victorious Believers Ministries.
Yep.
So we want key persons to advocate in civic issues, government issues, our city council issues, education issues. And we had a wonderful partnership with Saginaw Public Schools this summer, where our churches became hubs for students who were receiving tutoring in the summer. So we're very proud of that. And we're so grateful that Dr. Roberts partnered with us and allowed our churches to be those housing places where students could come and get their continued education. So we're doing everything as a group with the commitment from our pastors and their voices and expertise. We're doing everything we can for community.
I think this is absolutely amazing. And so I was giving you, some direction.
Yes,
I actually asked how we came about. We've talked about this mission. And I want you to say, okay, why do you feel that this type of collaborative effort is needed? When you think about pastors that are AME, we're talking Bethel, we're talking, all of the Baptist churches, the Kojic Church of God in Christ. I mean, non-denominations. We see all of these papers. Why is this assembly? Absolutely. Why is this type of collaboration important? What do you think it's important?
I think it's important because leaders have to be able to work with one another. It's important because we serve a community of citizens. And while we do have our Sundays and our congregations, we have families. And these families are related in our community. And whether your aunt is in my church or whether your cousin is in your church, pastor, then they should hear a common message from the faith leaders of their community that we are concerned about what's going on and we intend to make a difference. And that's why I think it's important.
Okay, so we have, let's do a quick chronology of some of the things that you have been doing. We know that we started off with planning a march during that occasion, and you and I were in there. Now this is we have a very kindred spirit. We're like, listen, it's time out for just marching. The marching, it was necessary. I think it was symbolic of what was going to take place. But you and I were like, listen, we've got to get involved. We got to roll up our sleeves and get involved. I told you, I can't be a part of something if it's just going to be a conversation. And you were like, Pastor, I'm right there with you. Dr. Clark is about it, y'all. I'm telling you, Reverend Doctor. She is about it. And I love that spirit about you. And you've been such a key piece of what's taking place here. Many of those who are listening may not understand, but you are a member of this organization, and you're not just here as the puppet woman or the token woman, but if they would really look at our mission statement, I remember the drafting in that process.
Yes,
and you were very integral. You do have a little bit on the rest of us with your educational endeavors, but you made sure that we were articulate, that we were poignant, that we were very focused. And so I want to appreciate you and celebrate you in that moment. I always tell everybody, if you ever are going to do something and it's going to be good, you've got to make sure that you have a woman involved. And you are that. Excuse me, doctor, I don't mean this, but this is a phrase. You are that chick. You are that one that makes it happen. I know all the other pastors like, come on, Pastor Boy. Hey, I got to be me, y'all. All right. So, doctor, when we look at this, let's talk about some of the things that have been going on, some of the things that you are doing or have already done, and then we'll talk about what's on the agenda moving forward. Let's recap those things.
So some of the things we've already done is we formalize protests, and you're right. We know that protests are necessary sometimes. Dr. King says protest is the language for those whose voices are not heard. That's my paraphrase, but that's what he meant. That protest is sending a message. There are needs out there. And beyond the protest, when both you and I were like, we got to get busy and do the work, we immediately began to engage our police chief and sheriff's department in having conversations. And so we held several conversations with them around the kinds of reforms that were necessary. They informed us of some of the reforms that they had already begun doing before our meeting. And we have continued conversations with them even as you and I are speaking today. So we moved from that protest to really concretely having those conversations. We've had representatives at the city council as we look at all of the money that's coming in. And that's why I love your show, because if you want to know what is going on, follow the money and follow this show that is straight talk, no chaser. Because we've had representatives at city council talking to those in the Saginaw County leadership to make sure that that money is used in our community and that it is responding to the needs of our citizens. Listen, there's no secret we need more recreation. When we talk about the violence that's going on, we need more opportunity for our youth in community. And can I just say, the second thing is we all are part of it.
That's right.
If you see something, you've got to say something. We can protest all we want. We can march all we want. We can talk to leaders all we want. But until we in the village speak up and say something and say, I want my child to be able to go outside, we can do it. And we have to do it in order to have the community that we want. So we've begun having those conversations with key leadership. And we have committed to partnering with those entities that are all about being responsive to our community. Oftentimes, you get into collaborations, but the African American community is left behind. This is first and foremost in our work and everything we do. And if you see us partnering, it's because we are at the table and our community's concerns are of primary importance.
All right. I want you to address, because what I loved, this is when I saw SAP jump into action. Dr. Craig Tatum, he knows that. I told Dr. Craig, I said, Dr. Craig, I love what you guys are doing. I love that you guys are coming together in fellowship. And I must do a better job of getting involved with those regular meetings. But there's so many things I have. But I told him, I said, listen, I am 1,000% behind you.
Yes,
I feel like there was a mission that I needed to address. And I think that we have to begin to use the areas of influence that we have to bring the kind of change that is necessary. So I said, Dr. Craig, y'all let me know. Y'all didn't kick me out. Y'all let me stay in.
No, you're forever a part of us.
In that process, I kind of took a detour and I began to, negotiate with companies and things. And we're going to see a lot of that stuff come into fruition now. And so I'm excited about it. But what I really wanted to get into is I want to talk about the leadership role. I was godly proud. I'm going to tell you, I was really proud to see SAP take the leadership role that they did when it came to making sure that there was equitable distribution of vaccines during that period. Share with us your role, how you guys pushed, you yelled, you shouted until the squeaky wheel finally got the oil.
Absolutely. Our churches, this is how powerful SAP has been across the Saginaw County, Great Lakes Bay region. Our churches have become hubs for vaccination sites. We have partnered with Great Lakes Bay Regional Health Centers. We have partnered with the Saginaw Health Department, and our churches have become those hubs for vaccination sites. We still need our community vaccinated. And you can say it all you want, but until you're putting it in community, then you are not really making it accessible for the people who really need it. We have opened the doors of our churches across denominational barriers, and our churches have become hub sites for vaccination. The wonderful thing we've also done, we have two major things coming up shortly. We've partnered with Great Lakes Bay Health Centers, and we secured a grant for $50,000. This grant was funded by the Michigan Primary Care Association and the Michigan Health Endowment. And they said to communities all over where numbers were disparate, especially as it relates to African Americans and Hispanics, where there are disparities in vaccination rates, they brought in money. And when that money came up, we partnered. So we have $50,000 so that we can have vaccinations accessible and ready for our community. On October the 23rd, we partnered with the Hispanic Leadership Institute. We've partnered with our Latino churches. Amen.
That's Robert De Leon, right?
Yes,
Mr. De Leon. All right.
Pastor De Leon.
Yes.
Yes. We've partnered with our churches, and we are ready to roll out vaccines for our community. October the 23rd, we will have a shot in the park. Meet us at Hoyt Park. We will be giving shots at that time. For every person that receives a shot, they will receive a $10 gift card, t-shirt, personal protection kit, coloring books, goodie bags, all kinds of things, and Zubu tickets. The library was so excited about what we're doing, they're advertising it. So we have Zubu tickets for families to take their children and have these last 2 weeks at the zoo where you can wear your costumes, dress up if you'd like to. We have those tickets for you. We need you to come and meet us at Hoyt Park on October the 23rd. And then if that's not enough, we have October the 30th, where we have 3 sites. We will be giving vaccinations at Nations Church. We will be giving vaccinations in Burt, at New Mount Calvary. We will be giving vaccinations, at Zion in Burt and at New Mount Calvary here. So we have 3 sites. Pfizer vaccination, the Moderna vaccination will be available at each of those sites. Everyone who gets vaccinated will receive $10 gift card and all of the goodies that go with that. Everyone who shows up will receive a t-shirt. And listen, these t-shirts are so tight. They're so tight. They say Comunidad Immunidad on the back and community immunity on the front. That is our slogan. We cannot have unity until our community reaches immunity. We want to see our children grow up. We want to keep our elderly family and friends and parents around us for as long as we can. So now we are putting ourselves out there, and we've secured this grant, and we have the best partners in the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers and their staff. Jill Armentrout, Monica Wood, Angelia Williams, who is our own in community. They have been simply wonderful in helping us to provide what our community needs to make a difference. So those are 2 initiatives that we have coming up. This grant runs until April of 2022. So this is not all we're going to do, but this is the start of what we're getting ready to do. And we just hope and pray that community will come out and join us there. We'll have food truck there. We want you to come. On October the 30th, you will receive harvest bags of goodies at each of the 3 sites. Come and get your family members vaccinated.
And I want you all to understand, those who are listeners here, the reason why this conversation is so important, the reason why it's very important for us to have this conversation and have Dr. Clark here with us is because a lot of what's been taking place has been during the pandemic.
Yes.
During a period of time where churches have been a distance, many of them have been closed during this period of time.
Right.
And so we want you to know that the pastors weren't just sitting back, drinking coffee, thinking about, another way to pray, 12 steps to healing or anything, but they have been actually collaborating. We've been getting together. A lot of the meetings have been socially distanced meetings. So we got with technology, which I think is good because there's so many pastors that were relics, and they were not able to use social media.
It helped all of us to become proficient.
Absolutely.
All of our pastors
Absolutely.
at least have a very fundamental basic knowledge of social media.
And being able to use Zoom to communicate.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that the community at large, the village, understood that there's something that is going on. Because I will tell you, as much as I love my pastors, I will be our biggest critic as well. But just as that happens and I see us doing great things, I'm going to celebrate. And I hope that our parishioners and our community are beginning to understand something important. I'll tell you a statistic. Statistically speaking, they were saying that there's only about 35 to 40% of people who are returned back to some type of church service.
Yes.
So that means that there are still large swaths of our community that are not re-engaging. There are senior people who are yet vulnerable because of this Delta variant. Here in Michigan, if you guys are watching the numbers, we have had a 50% increase of cases here in Michigan. It is believed, and my personal thought is that everyone is going to have their surge of the Delta variant because it is so contagious. And so it's important for us to understand, listen, your pastors are not kicking back, drinking coffee, thinking, hey, this is an extended vacation, but they are strategizing in this season to make great things happen. Go ahead, Dr.
And Pastor Bowen, we have, during this pandemic, we have written grants. We are talking to people with money because it takes money to make a difference. We have been engaging our community leaders in every aspect. Pastor Pryor is very big on jobs and employment and has expertise in that area. Pastor Michael Hayes has expertise in the finance area. We have engaged Huntington Bank. Huntington Bank is coming into our community. They are going to be a hub here, and they have economic development programs for first-time homeowners. We have been in those conversations with them, and we're making sure that they're bringing that to our churches and our community. So we have been working hard, and this pandemic has just given us an opportunity to solidify our bond as pastors. We come from different denominations, and anytime you get great leaders together, you have to have a bonding experience. And what we all agree on is that this is part of not only our spiritual responsibility, this is part of our human responsibility. We are a part of the village. We are in village. We are among our brothers and sisters. And so we have to work to make sure that our leadership has a positive impact on our community. And I can't stress enough, I just got my booster shot and my flu shot. The first flu shot I've had. The booster and the flu all at one time. Yes, and I was so sick the day after, but I'm totally fine now. I had it on Friday, my first flu shot in my entire life. But I want to see my grandkids. I want my children not to have to bury me early. And so if I could do anything to every person listening, I implore you, I beg you, please talk to your family. Come and get the information. Just come out and see us on the 23rd. We will have information about the vaccine so that you can get the education you need to feel comfortable. My personal position was, if it's good enough for Barack Obama, it's good enough for me.
I want to lean into this aspect really quick. You have these two dates that are coming up, and they're in the community.
They are in
so,
the community.
So you don't have to drive all the way out to Meyer or out to Saginaw Valley or out to Horizon.
They're right here.
Your SAP pastors, that sounds crazy. Your Saginaw African American pastors have made sure that these opportunities are right in your community. Now, I want to ask you a question, Dr. Clark, because you are an individual who works in higher education.
Yes.
So you deal with, it's not the millennials. We refer to those kids that are yet in college, those young people, as millennials, but this is actually what the Z generation
This
now.
is, yeah.
So we have Z Genners and millennials. I guess we would want to talk about what is the message, or what is the thing that we need to communicate to them to make them feel more comfortable with taking this vaccination. We have a large percentage of 65 and older that has been vaccinated.
Yes, it's the Gen Z. You're right.
Yeah.
It's the Gen Z and it's the millennials. You and I sit in one
Those
of those
spaces,
generations,
absolutely.
those spaces. And as I say to students on campus, I work with students all the time. And may I say, the Friends of Hoyt have been wonderful. They gave us the space at Hoyt to have this vaccination site. So I want to shout them out because they're all about community. But what I say to students on campus and what I say to my sons and their friends is that this is about being able to prevent unnecessary deaths. 700,000. That's what I say. I say 700,000, more than the Vietnam War.
Wow.
700,000 deaths. We have to be vaccinated, and we can get the information that you need to be educated about it. I understand that. I read everything before I committed to my vaccination, but at the same time, when that vaccination was available to me, and I thank my university for that, Saginaw Valley State University.
They get a great job.
I want to shout my university out for that because they wanted to protect those of us who are working on campus and the students we serve. We have to get vaccinated because that's going to save lives. And that's really the simple message that I give Gen Zs and millennials. And we have the information that you can read. You will not get infertile. I've heard some of them say, I'm worried about fertility. I haven't had kids yet. This does not affect fertility.
As a matter of fact, they have been telling pregnant mothers that, to protect yourself and your unborn child.
And pregnant mothers are approved for the vaccine, and more of them are getting vaccinated because they don't even want to endanger the life of their child that's yet unborn. So we know that the vaccines are approved for those who are pregnant. You won't get infertile. There are so many misrepresentations about the vaccine out in community, and we just need more people standing up and saying we need to save one another's life. I love my brothers and sisters so much that I don't want to be the reason why someone's grandmother might be affected, why someone's aunt might be infected. So I believe that the vaccine is going to save our lives and it's going to save our children's lives. 700,000.
Dr. Clark, we're going to pivot really quick, but I want you to think about something. I'm going to ask Rob a question because you brought up something that I think is really important. I want you to kind of stew on this next question. During this moving toward a quote unquote, if there's such a thing, or even if we're there, this post-pandemic period, what becomes the most important thing as we begin to do that for the clergy of our community? But Rob,
yes,
I want to ask you this question. I'm not sure what's going on here with their sound, but I want to say to you, she brought up the fact that this is really the most casualties that we've had outside of any war other than the Civil War, the
Vietnam War.
World War II.
Even more than that.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So being a Navy guy,
and I'm an Army girl.
And you're an Army girl. What does that mean? What does that mean to you that we're fighting a war that many are taking for granted, and it's one of the greatest wars ever on our soil?
What that means to me is let's take an echo there. It means that a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that their freedoms are for granted. They're taking life for granted. When you're in the military, and I can say this from spending 20 years in the military, and you being an Army person would know this too, we are on the same schedule, and we never know when we're going to have to give our lives for something. Even though we may have a slow day, scrubbing the floors, or doing communications, or anything we may do militarily wise, we may be called upon to do something that endangers our lives, no matter where it is. whether you were Army or Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, or Navy, you may be called upon to do something. So we didn't take our lives for granted. As a matter of fact, if we knew anybody in the service who felt suicidal or depressed, whatnot, we came to that person's aid. And I've seen Marines kill themselves because of this sort of thing. So here in America, though, if you haven't served and you don't appreciate life as much as a person who's in the military. Now, I'm not saying that have not been military people have not taken the vaccine who have not died. I'm just saying, in my view, from the standpoint as a veteran, I understand more about life and the appreciation of life than the average civilian does. He just goes about like just to go and say, well, whatever, and go by history, and go by conspiracy theories. So 700,000 means a lot to me, but it says these people do not have to die. And people who are unvaccinated, who choose to be unvaccinated, are saying, well, whatever, I'll go through, I'll take my risk, but I don't want to take that risk. Like the doctor said here, I don't want to be the one just in case, someone walks in here and I had COVID. Or if I didn't know I had COVID, what's the term? That's systematic, whatever it is. If I did not know I had
asymptomatic.
If I didn't know I had it, I give it to somebody else, and someone else got sick because I don't know. So I'd rather have myself vaccinated because I value life and I value the life of other people. I mean, I like everybody, but I value their life.
I want to bring us back to this question because now what he said made me think about this. I know that we've been shut down for 2 years. We'll call it 2 years.
Yeah, 18 months. That's 2 years.
18 months. That's 2 years. And in that period of time, there's a lot that has stopped, a lot that has not happened. We saw entertainment venues shuttered. For the first time ever in my life, I've never seen anything like this.
Yes, and they just avoided a strike. Did you know that?
Yes.
Just in Texas, right?
And we see, and this is what's interesting. We see New York and the theaters coming back, and there's a mandate like you must be vaccinated to come to the theater.
Yes.
Which I think is phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal.
My son just relocated there in Long Island, and his brothers were going to visit him. Well, one of his brothers just had his first vaccination and couldn't visit because you literally cannot get in anywhere without proof of vaccination.
Okay, and I think it's amazing. However, I gotta say this: in Michigan, where our numbers are escalating currently at the time. I think they were saying 50% increase than we were the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I went and I love the Saginaw Spirit. I've gone to the games. If you've never gone to a Saginaw Spirit game,
I love their games.
You are missing a treat.
Mm-hmm.
However, on yesterday, they had their very first game back, and I was mortified at what I saw. In the climate that we are, and even in Saginaw County, our numbers are increasing. We had Valley Lutheran High School that had to close down for 2 or 3 days because the 10 kids spiked up with COVID. And so they're saying that usually each individual it may impact 7 to 28.
20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
Right.
And in fact, 20 to 30 people.
And so if we have 10 individuals that are positive for COVID in the school that they have to shut it down, what does that do to our community, first of all? But on yesterday, I saw, and I know that people are excited to get back to normal, and certain populations are more excited because they were less affected. They don't have any fear, so they want you to return to work without any restrictions. They don't want you to wear a mask. They want you to just kind of get back to normal. We can't do that in our community.
Normal is gone. Normal is gone.
Right.
There's no normal.
But yesterday I saw their first game, the population showing up. And there were people everywhere. Now I did because I made a call like, yo, you wouldn't believe what I'm seeing here. The parking garage is being reworked. But I drove around the city and there were so many people going to the game. I saw not a single mask. I don't think I saw a single mask. And I'm talking literally of hundreds of people because I sat there and watched because I was so mortified by this. Hundreds of people going in, no mask, excited, running, jumping around. The crowds are connected. There was no social distancing. And so I'm not sure if they won or not on last night. They did not. And I'm hoping that we haven't not only lost the game, but also lost another battle here by possibly hosting a super spreader event. Now, I know that there are a lot of things going on, and I just think, and I don't know what happened on the inside. So I'm going to call John Block, their GM, and I know that, and I know that there's so many people who support this team, and I support this, and I support us getting back to normal. But I think that are we making some mistakes by trying to move and to just get normal back?
Well, I think our reality is that there is a faction of our community that it's just they believed the lie. They believe the lie. They believe the hype, the devastation that this former person in the White House did to communities. And there are groups of our community who are not committed to the vaccine. They're not committed to community immunity. But the African American community has to be committed to community. We need to be vaccinated. It's hard to control the behavior of other people, especially grown folk, right? You can try as you might, but until we have leaders in every community saying the same thing, not just the leaders in the African American community, but leaders in other parts of our region.
Absolutely.
Until they step up to the plate and say, immunity, vaccination is necessary, immunity is necessary, and we join our African American leaders, our Hispanic Latino leaders in making sure that all of our community embraces this idea. And you're right, it's scary when you go into places and you don't see masks. I carry my mask with me at all times because in this community, you just never know where you're going to be, where you have to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
I don't know the answer to that one, Kareem. I don't know how we make an impact when people are resistant to believing the truth. When they won't believe the truth, I'm not sure how you can impact them in a way that says this vaccination is going to save my life. I'm saying to the African American community, this vaccination is going to save our lives. It's going to save the lives of those we work with, we live with, we love with, and we need to be vaccinated.
You got nothing to lose either. It doesn't help that people with influence are adding to the pot of discouragement. It doesn't help that, when you have LeBron James who won't step up and say, "Hey, do this," or Irving, the Irving guy, was
Kyrie Irving,
right? Wouldn't get, people look up to these leaders, so-called leaders, or icons. And so I'm going to follow them. Or I'm going to do my research. Well, all the research has been done for you. It's not costing you anything. Just take your butt down to this and get the shot and be done with it.
Absolutely. All right. So I want to really quickly give us those dates, the 23rd and the 30th. Where those
October
locations?
The 23rd, we will be right in the parking lot next to the zoo in Hoyt Park. And again, thank you to Larry at Friends of Hoyt for saying yes and allowing us this space as we share with our community. We will be there October the 23rd. We will be there from 12 to 5. We will be in October the 30th. We will be in 3 sites: Nations Church. We will be at Mount Zion in Burt, and we will be at Mount Calvary here in Saginaw. So there are 3 opportunities, and each of these sites, Great Lakes Bay Regional Health Centers, has certified nurses who are trained to administer vaccines and provide you with information if you're hesitant about it before you get the vaccine. We have giveaways for everyone who gets the vaccine. We have grand prize drawings on the 30th at all 3 of our sites.
I got something I want to say.
Yes.
All right. I want to throw this out there. I know
it's on Saturday, by the way.
Both of those dates are on Saturdays.
All right. I want to make sure that I say this, and this is, I'm always getting myself in trouble, but hey, I'm gonna give it to you straight. We got $50,000 for the purpose of vaccination. Have we thought about speaking to young people where they are, creating or developing or bringing a concert that would be to their liking? Now, we don't have to like it. We're just trying to make impact happen. Bring a concert to their liking.
I'm so glad
the cost is a vaccination.
I am so glad you said that. That is a great idea that we are going to put on the table when we meet after these 2 events, because we still have monies that need to be spent. And I love that idea. What we are doing to impact teenagers and our millennials is we've developed social messaging. I want to thank Trinell Tatum for taking the lead on that. We're developing the social media messages to give them information from their own peers.
Absolutely.
But I want to take that suggestion of a concert for all vaccinated teenagers, millennials, Gen Zs, a concert, and your ticket is your vaccination. It's on the board for play.
I think you got to be wise. Those who win souls are wise.
Can I just tell you one more thing?
Absolutely.
You asked me something. You said, we've been in a pandemic. What are some of the things that the pastors are concerned with as we move forward? We are concerned with education, and we thank the leadership in Saginaw City Schools. We thank the leadership there because they too are concerned, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. We're concerned about education. We need to be gracious to our teachers, and we need to recognize that we have to help our students recover lost time. So let's be kind with one another. Let's be gracious to the educators in the classroom, and let's support our kids at home so that we can help them. It's going to take the whole village to help our kids catch up. It's going to take time.
All right. This conversation went a little bit different than I anticipated because I wanted to make sure, but you know what, Dr. Clark, I'm going to give it easy. I'll give you a chance to think. When you come back, when SAP comes back, we're going to talk about what is SAP poised to do to curb this gun violence that happens in our community. Sandra Laura, thank you for sharing your information. She says that we have vaccinations given out next Sunday at Mount Olive Institutional Baptist Church. That is the 24th of October, and from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. as well. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. And Nana Peoples, where are the locations of the sites posted, or is there a link? Dr. Clark, really quick, we got just a quick minute here.
For us? Yes, you can catch us on our SAP Facebook page. You can go there and get all of the information that you need. October the 23rd, we're at Hoyt Park. October the 30th, we're at 3 different church sites. Check us out on our Facebook page, and you can find out all about us and get the information you need.
All right, well, there you go. You know, I have been one who has been very strong and stern in terms of my words for community leaders. I think that we as pastors have kind of shuttered back during the course of time. And I was always taught, Dr. Clark, that real leadership arises and emerges in the time of crisis. So I'm excited to see our pastors doing what is normal. That was my 1 minute mark. So in my last close, I want to say thank you for coming here and being a part of this. You have been an absolutely wonderful and well-informed guest to give our community the information that is needed. For those of you who are listening out there to Straight Talk, I want you to continue to follow us. If there's more information to be known, come to our page, Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen, or go to KISS WTLZ on Facebook, social media, and you will always get the latest updates. As I said, Dr. Clark, thank you for that commercial. I'll pay you later. But we're going to give it to you straight, no chaser, no filter, getting straight to the heart of the matter, making sure that our communities and the village is well protected. Thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to more conversations moving forward. Until next week, God bless you all. Grace and peace. On KISS 107.